We just talked about the second tone. Before we continue on to the other tones, I like to talk about two things. One is the so-called full third tone. The other is the so-called light or toneless tone. You heard me pronounce fei, 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 fei. The tone I used to pronounce fei is the so-called half-third tone. It is one of the two variations of the third tone that's more frequently used. The other is called the full third tone. The full third tone variation sounds like fei and is often taught in classrooms. It does have its use. For example, when pronouncing a character in isolation, which happens a lot in classrooms, or when you want to put emphasis on a third tone character. I don't use full third tone that much myself, and I wouldn't use it much in this class either. But if I do, you probably would notice. The reason I mention it now is that first, you are aware of it, and second, you won't get confused when you see the pinyin pitch chart the way it's usually presented. The pitch chart and the associated tone values of 4 tones were originally proposed by the Chinese linguist Yuan Renzhao. The scales are relative, and the so-called F0 contours are actually more irregular than the straight lines represent. But we can use it to point out a few facts about pinyin tones. First is that the first tone is high and level. Second is that the second tone is a rising tone, as we have shown in the last lesson. Third is that you can recognize a half-third tone by the fact that it has a lower pitch all the way. And you can recognize a full third tone by the fact that it starts at the lower pitch and rise higher halfway, but not as high as the second tone or the first tone end. Another fact about the full third tone is that it has a noticeably longer duration. The fourth tone goes from high pitch to low pitch, and it's a rather sharp drop. And finally, there is the toneless tone or light tone. The light tone is indicated by the lack of a tone mark. The Chinese word mother, with the first tone character ma appearing twice, is pronounced mama instead of mama. The second ma is pronounced lightly and hurriedly. 2 fourth tone character ba is pronounced together as ba ba instead of ba ba, and it means father. We will have some listening exercise next.